The color wheel consists of three groups of colors: primary colors, secondary colors, and intermediate colors. Primary colors are used to mix all of the other colors and cannot be made by the mixing of other colors. Primary colors are placed equal distance apart on the color wheel. You will notice that there are three colors separating each of the primary colors. Red, yellow, and blue are the three primary colors.
The first thing I want to review with you is good painting technique. Please only pour out a dime-sized amount of paint. To start with, you're going to work with a small paintbrush. You will dip your paintbrush in to your yellow. This comes straight out of the bottle. We're going to paint the top circle of our color wheel with the color yellow. When you work with paint, you want to make sure that you work slowly, precisely. You want to take long brush strokes. If you paint quickly, it ends up being a little bit more choppy on the edges. Something that it took me a long time to figure out was not to treat my paintbrush like it was a pencil. If you press too hard and press it flat, you have a lot more bristles to try and control, and it's a lot harder to control than if you were to just touch the tip of your brush against the surface of your paper. So again, the first thing we're going to do is outline the edge of our circle, and we want to try and stay in the lines, but today is also really about mixing the correct colors as well. Once you have it nicely outlined, then you're going to take your medium or large brush and you are able to fill in the center a lot more quickly. Now that I have the yellow circle painted, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my red circle. So I'm going to rinse out my brush really well, and I'm going to dry it with a paper towel or on my newspaper, so that way there's no extra water, so I get a nice opaque or solid color. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take a little bit of red, and I'm going to repeat the same thing. Something else that can help you paint more neatly is to watch the amount of paint that you put on your paintbrush. If you put a lot of paint on your paintbrush, it's a lot harder to control. Again, remember, you want to go slowly, outline. We're trying to stay within that guideline there. And we get our outline done first. Okay, now I switch again to my next brush. I'm going to show you what it looks like when there's too much water in my brush. So you'll notice it's a lot more see-through, and we want to avoid that. So if that happens, dry out your brush, take your brush, dip it back in the paint, and then paint over the top of it. You might have to let the area that has too much water dry before you give it a second coat. And you're going to apply these same painting techniques to complete the blue circle on the right hand side of the color wheel.
Secondary colors are mixed by combining two primary colors. Their placement on the color wheel tells which colors can be used to mix it. You will notice each of the secondary colors are located in between two primary colors. So if you look at the color wheel, you'll notice in between the primary colors of yellow and red, you see the secondary color of orange. That is because the color yellow and red are mixed together to create orange.
The other secondary colors are green, which is made by mixing yellow and blue together, and violet, which is made by mixing red and blue together. To start, I'm going to use my paintbrush to move a little bit of my yellow into an empty tray, and then I take a little bit of red and mix it with it. And then I stir my paint around. Go ahead and continue to add some more red. As you can see, I have a lot more control by just adding a little bit of red at a time. Okay, now that I have a good orange color, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint my triangle. The triangles on this worksheet represent secondary colors. So for orange, I'm mixing the primary color of yellow with the primary color of red. As I move on to violet, I take my lighter color of red and scoop some into one of my empty paint palette spaces, and then I take little amounts of blue and I mix it in with it until I reach my violet. The other way you could approach this is taking equal parts of red and blue and mixing them together to find violet. The next thing I need to do is I need to make my secondary color of green. So if I look again at my color wheel, I can see that the two closest primary colors, remember a secondary color is made by using two primary colors, so if I locate my green, if I look to one side, I see yellow. If I look to the other side, I see blue. That tells me what two colors I need to use to make my green. Knowing that my yellow is my lighter color, I'm going to take and start with that color first. Now I've gotten some red in here, so I'm going to go ahead and move some of my clean yellow into the other paint palette spot. I'm going to take just a little bit of blue and I'm going to mix it up with my yellow. And I repeat this process until my green looks like the green on the laminated color wheel. I can also hold my brush above the green to see if I've made green or if it's blue-green or if it's yellow-green, and then I can paint it onto my color wheel. Remember to take your time, try to stay in the lines. This is a practice to get you ready for our project.